How about we just go into the live stream? Hello, happy Thursday, and thank you for joining me today. I am Raphael, and happy Thursday. Yeah, our goal here is to fix it in camera and finesse it in post. It's the mantra that I kind of live by. Yeah, so today, lots of stuff is going to be happening. Lots of stuff to share with you. Stuff that I've been working on, stuff that has been happening. Whoa, that's dreamy. Yeah, stuff that's been going on in my life and what I've been up to. The other things I want to talk about is hope you guys like the new setup. It's a little bit different than before. Sorry, still trying to figure out this whole streaming setup. I'm going to turn off the music for now because it's distracting me because that's all I hear in my ears. So until I can figure that out. But yeah, I just wanted to say hello to everyone. Jassim, Christian, Roger, Basha, Luis, hello. Make sure you ping everyone because we got some fun stuff that hopefully we're going to cover today. And this isn't a topic driven live stream today. Today's going to be more about question and answers, questions and ask me anything. And also maybe ask some questions to the special guest. We'll see how they feel when they come on. So if you guys have any guesses to who that may be, make sure you drop it into the chat right now. But so just want to say hello from Ireland. Glad that you guys can make it. I tried to make this a little bit earlier to do accommodations for people's timelines. And thank you, Jassim. I appreciate that. Let's see. Before my phone goes. Okay, so yeah, today I want to talk about a whole bunch of stuff. Answer a lot of questions because there's quite a few that came in. Talk about some very specific things. But before we do that, I actually want to before we do that, I want to make sure that just give some people some time to get onto the stream because I know that I don't usually do it on this stream or on this channel. And if you're not subscribed to my live streaming channel where I talk about freelancer financials and all that kind of stuff related to the business side of working in the creative industry. All right, there we go. So back to live mode. All right. Sorry. That's one of the joys of doing this. One of the joys of doing this as a solo creator, and this is something that I do want to talk about because that was a question that did come up a little bit. So I'm going to introduce. How about we bring on our special guest? They're waiting patiently, and I'm actually super excited to introduce this special guest. I reached out and asked if they would be able to join me on this 10,000 subscriber live stream. This is, for me, it's a big moment because when I started this channel, I had very specific goals of what I wanted to do, what I wanted to share, what I wanted to kind of teach. But there's lots of things that have come out of that, and at the size that this channel is right now. So I want to introduce the special guest. He has a channel that has about 5,000 subscribers on it. He recently launched it, and it's doing really, really well comparatively to a lot of other channels that just started with that kind of niche. And if anyone can guess who it is, if not, I want to introduce. There we go.
Hey,
Mr. Peter Lindgren. Oh, wait, that's on the wrong side.
Doesn't matter which side though.
Yeah. No, Peter, I just want to say thank you so much for joining me during this celebration as my channel is slowly growing. And I feel like I'm um, earning every sub. And I think you know exactly what that feels like and what that actually means when every time you put out a video and someone comments on like, you deserve a sub, or, you know, you earn the sub with this video. And that's how I have that mentality. What is your take on earning every single sub? Because, you know, like I said, you have 5,000 subscribers on your vlog channel. I know
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Prepare. I'm just sharing this live stream right now on both Instagram and my community post. So prepare for people joining in.
Uh-oh. Well, we'll make it
But yeah,
entertaining for them.
first off, congratulations, man.
Thank
Super
you.
stoked to see that you are at 10,000. It's a huge milestone for sure. And to think that like 10,000 people are subscribed to your channel, that is huge. But talking about the subscribers and earning every sub, yeah, I definitely know how hard it is because I've been there myself, you know? So I feel ya, but I think you're doing one hell of a job.
It feels good, but it's always interesting to compare yourself to other channels, because there's some channels that started almost the exact same time as I did, and they just went, they exploded. But they're doing different topics. They're doing different, like a whole different genre. Like when I set out, I had my North Star, the three channels I kind of emulated, that I wanted to emulate. It was MKBHD. The kind of reviews that he did were honest, and he literally used the products and gave his honest opinion. The other one was Matt Davella, where it was this minimalistic approach, this calmness, this just going to talk about, just talk about finances and just living life as to the best that you can. And also Maddie, in the way that he did his, the very practical tutorials, like this is a proven process. This is going to be, this is the way it's the way he does it, and it works for him. And then after I started, that's where I kind of based it on. And then after, that's when I kind of got introduced to you and to Tom, where you guys had this aura about you guys that just was naturally like, I like these people. Like like you guys seem, if I was to meet you in person, that's exactly how you would be. Like there's no persona that you're putting on and like being super hyper. It's just that's you. And that really drew and kind of, you know, shifted my focus to make sure that I was still just being true to me while still trying to provide something of value to the viewers, because that's really what it comes down to. It's not about how many videos can I make that are just for me, but like really what it comes down to is like sharing you and having the people that have a very like-minded mindset as you to grow.
Absolutely. I think that being able to have a YouTube channel is it's like a cool way of sharing the way that you see the world, you know? Because if you know how to use a camera and you know how to utilize the different lenses and how to edit and all that, then you can make something that I'm trying to do, make the regular everyday things to something interesting. And I think that is so cool. And that was what fascinated me the most with Casey when he was at his peak, because he just took regular, like everyday things, him being in the studio doing things, just editing that and shooting that in a way that made it interesting to look at.
And that's particularly why I wanted to introduce your YouTube or your vlog channel, because if you guys aren't subscribed to Peter's vlog channel, he does exactly that. He's really upping his storytelling game, but and doing it in a way that just becomes like, even you're following him on his day, and it's interesting. You need to watch those kind of videos, and I'm really enjoying that.
Thank you.
And it's actually one of the things that, like, I don't know if I'll ever do vlogs, because vlogs aren't something that I've ever been interested in, but
It is so hard.
I can imagine. I think I tried once. I recorded it, and like that footage will never see the light of day because it's just
Hey,
that's
look at
just
that.
not.
Look in the chat. We got a
Oh,
couple of new people joining in here.
hello, hello. I just want to say hello to everyone that's coming out. Living with
Terry, my boy.
Terry, I love your channel. I love everything that you talk about and the reality of how easy YouTube is. Those are all true words that you're always speaking.
Living with Grinnin McKinnon.
Grin and McKinnon.
I've seen you on my channel a couple of times.
Tommy, hello. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's been about a year and a half. I'm closing in, no, a bit more than a year and a half. I'm closing in on the 2-year mark. But this is a question I have directly for you because someone asked me this question the other day, like after I passed 10,000 subscribers, and they said that I'm like, oh, you're a big YouTuber now, and I laughed out loud because that just it sounded so ridiculous, and I don't know if that's something that the channel will ever get to. But how do you feel on that? Like you're at 500,000 subscribers. You're what I consider a big YouTuber. How do you feel if someone says like, "Oh, you're a big YouTuber"?
I mean, you have to kind of accept it in a way, I guess, because 500,000 subscribers, it's huge, but it's also like for me here in Sweden, I don't notice it. No one knows who I am when I'm walking in the mall or anything. There's literally nothing that you can see people noticing. The only time that people notice is when I'm in a camera store, which is obvious because I'm talking about cameras. But I see it as being someone that just enjoys what I do and then creates the videos that I enjoy to do and having fun while I'm doing it, because I'm a regular dude that is making a living on YouTube, but I'm not necessarily a big channel. I'm just very privileged to have a lot of people following my channel. I think that is the best way to sum it up. How do you feel about it?
That your channel is a big YouTube channel?
No.
Yeah, I think it's a huge YouTube
No.
channel.
No, I mean like about your channel. How do you feel about the question?
The answer is no, because the goalposts that I see for like big YouTube channels are you're doing it full time. Your income, the majority of your income is coming through YouTube and all the other avenues of that's kind of the halo effect, but it's all coming through there, right? And then like there may be some side freelance stuff that you're doing, but my main work is I work with I do a lot of work with this company called Mad Microbe. They're probably like top 3, if I would say the best medical animation studio in the world, and that's what I do for the majority of my time. I do a lot of contracts with them, and that's what I see myself as professionally. Because, and this kind of leads me into the next thing where I'm used to working with teams. Like like every project that I work on with them, there's usually 3 artists that are like probably the best artists in the world that do that kind of stuff. And then there's a producer, the creative director, the art director, and it's just this whole team, and they're working on a 5-minute video that is so detailed and so thought through, and it takes months to get it done right. And then you have, me making a YouTube video. It's like, I have this idea. I'm going to talk about the review this lens or this filter because that's, I think it's cool, and I think I want to share that thought with people. And it's me kind of cobbling all the gear together that I had over the years, and I make it a thought video. I feel as a visual blog is where I kind of started. Like do those reviews, do the tutorials. And it's only recently that I started to add a little bit more personality and do live streams because I enjoy the community that comes out of that. I didn't expect how a wave of positivity to kind of flow, because when you start, you have this like you're going to get all these negative comments. No one's going to like, the stuff that you do, and you're just going to get blasted for anything that you put out, right? And so you have that fear, like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't know if I want to do it. But then the more you do, you only think about the last video, and you always looking towards the next video. So that's kind of the mentality. Like, do I think I'm a big YouTuber? No. Maybe one day if the YouTube no, I can't say that, because it's all on you. You created this. It wasn't some algorithm that picked up. You made a great video that then started that wave, and then you put in the work, 3 videos a week, nonstop. Like, that's you. You were in control of how many videos you could put on and what you put in those videos. So
yeah, but like, then again, it's, of course, yeah, it doesn't really matter what you do. You always have to put in the hard work. And I just want to address the comments, just saying a thank you to Cherry. I always, the thing is, I don't try to bring up YouTubers. I just try to I appreciate people that are doing the same thing, and if I think that I can help them in any way, I'd be more than happy to. And
well,
I think that Tommy Calloway said it very good here, where he says, like, the feeling of achievement is a bit lost the bigger you get. Because when in the beginning of my channel, I was super stoked when we hit 100 subs, and then I was so stoked when we hit 1,000, and then 10,000, and then 100,000. But then it started to go down. Now that we reached 500,000, it's a huge number, but I don't feel the same way as when I hit 1,000 subs. And I think that the biggest difference here is that now I am accustomed to this. I do this every day. Before, I didn't do it every day, and now I'm making a living from it. I know that if I post this amount of videos, then I'm going to make a living from this and make the money that I need to be able to sustain my livelihood.
Effort in, results out. Absolutely.
Exactly. And it's a lot about putting in the hard work to achieve that specific goal. But I think that the higher you get, the more numb you become towards those goals as well. With that said, though, I still think dude on left, hang on.
Yeah.
Dude on left audio.
That's you. Is that a little bit better, the audio?
Should it be good? Like, should I lower anything?
No. I got it here.
Okay, you got it there. Sweet. But yeah, I think that, the higher up you get, the easier things get, because you make more money. And I've actually talked about this with a lot of my friends, which is kind of weird, because when you're starting out, it's very hard to try to achieve all the things that you need to be able to make a video, such a big softbox and big lights and studio space. But the bigger that my channel has gotten, the more things I've been getting for free, which means that I make more money without having to do more than I did before, because now I'm getting everything for free. I don't have to pay for anything. So it's also this, like, everything becomes easier when you reach a certain point. But since you build yourself into the niche that we talked about previously, you kind of want to do something else than what you've done up till this point. And for me, especially as a very driven person, I want to develop myself. I want to take things to a place where I feel uncomfortable and, try to innovate what I do. And I think that the vlogs, as we talked about previously, is a perfect way for me to improve my storytelling game.
Well, like you, I remember there's a story you told where when you were starting out, you just had this idea that you're going to buy a camera and you're going to do that. You're going to take pictures, you're going to make videos, you're going to go down the freelance route. And you didn't have any experience walking into YouTube. So
No.
Not only did you have that learning curve of making videos and learning everything about lights and cameras and the gear, and then you started sharing your excitement of, like, how cool is this thing that I'm using, and then you've kind of did that whole arc of, you got that excitement. I know you still have it because of some of the stuff that you're working on, that you have that excitement for gear. But when it comes down to evolving as a storyteller, that's been your entire progress. Because I've been following your channel for a couple of years now, and like, your storytelling has just gotten better. Your editing, you know what to keep in and what to take out, where to have the audience, what's important for the audience to pay attention to focus on, to like all those little things that, you know, when you make just talking head YouTube videos, you don't need to do that, but it adds so much more visual excitement to keep the story going, right? And I'm not talking about tutorials or anything like that, because it's just about the vlog part of it, because vlogs are 100% anchored in good storytelling, and that's it. And it's just like take people on that adventure, right? Like the things that happen in a vlog, those are the plot points, the little, but like, you know, is there emotion when you get to the end of it? And that's what I see you getting much more excited about making. So
thank you so much. This means a lot to me to hear, because like even though people see the vlogs as effortless, you know, that there's no effort in the vlogs, the edit just flows, then my goal is achieved, because I don't want to feel pushed. You know, I want it to be a day, and then here I try to collect all the footage that I've shot, and then how can I piece this together to something that is somewhat interesting for someone to see. I'm not saying that I'm going to do daily vlogs for ever, but during the weekdays, I think it's pretty interesting, not only for someone that might want to do this on their own, but also for me to be able to document and look back at in 5 years from now. Like, Peter, how did you work 5 years ago when you were doing a YouTube channel, you know, or if I'm doing something else? I don't know. But I think that the whole documentation thing of, you know, the vlogs are pretty cool, and storytelling is definitely a huge aspect that is overlooked.
Sorry about that.
Look at
yeah. Justine, thank you. Appreciate that. Now, why was there double? That was exciting. All these new. There you go. Oops. But yeah, there was a question. There was a question. Do you think vlog style about cameras and filmmaking will be pushed by YouTube algorithm? This is a Peter question, but I don't like the YouTube algorithm if people are interested in it, the YouTube will push it out to people. So it's based on what people are actually clicking on and what they're interested in. Not only the thumbnail, but like once they get past the thumbnail, are they interested in the actual video? And that's the only thing that the computer thinks about and sees. Like, did they watch it? Did they like it? Did they share it? Did they, you know, comment? Was it a positive comment? They're looking. That's what the computer looks at. So if there's interest in the world for it, the YouTube will push it. It's not like YouTube pushes something that it wants to be popular.
No, and I think that for me, like my videos right now have a very bad engagement because I'm losing subscribers with the videos that I post, mainly because I think that it might be like an audience shift, as we've also talked about. But when that happens, the algorithm sees that, okay, Peter is posting a video, people are unsubscribing, this is not a good video, put it down here. That is basically how it works. But I'm very interested to see if the shift is going to happen at some point where I start to gain subscribers instead.
I think so, because I think it's YouTube as like it treats every video individually. So every new video that you put up, when one of them starts to get traction, it will start to push even your older ones to that same audience that liked that one. And my wife said something very interesting to me the other day where, because I post, every time I post a video, I'm pretty sure this happens to you as well on a different scale, but I post a video and like instantly within the first 2 minutes, I get like 3 unsubs, which it's typical. It's like I expected. And, you know, I kind of joke about it, and I turn to my wife and it's like, oh, you know, there's the expected 4 unsubs. And she goes, yeah, but think about the 30 that are going to sub because of it in the long run. And I was just like, that mindset shift was so good, because it's like for every ones that you lose that liked something that you did 2 years ago or even a year ago are coming. You're going to find new ones that connect with you and your mindset on a better level. And I think that's a great way to kind of approach it.
Yeah, and I think the absolute best way we can attack this question is, when a shift happens, doesn't matter what it is. Like, take any company in the world. If they do something new, people will say that, oh, I like this better. When one of my favorite bands, Metallica, when they dropped like Load and Reload, people were like, holy shit, what are they doing? Like, this is crap. They're going to like country stuff. Shit, I don't like this.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they did something that they wanted to do. They tried doing something differently. And I think that is the most important thing, because eventually they become something else and not just the band that was doing this like the same album over and over. Because if you do that, people will also say, oh, they're never trying out something new. So it's a very hard balance trying to find.
It's too bad that after that they didn't succeed anymore.
Yeah. It's like,
no, because they can do it, and they knew that their core audience would like it, and then they knew it would bring in some new audience. And
yeah,
speaking of music, because I know that the type of music that you love and listen to, how much does music play in your idea creation process?
Oh, so much.
Like, are you in the car just like rocking out, like, and then like is that where Rivals kind of came from? And like,
no, the thing is, I wish I listened to music more, but I like listening to music way more when I'm at the gym, because that is where I feel like I can drop everything and just focus at the gym.
Yeah.
But music plays a huge part, especially when it comes to editing, because I remember during the fall, I wanted to get back into making vlogs, and I felt like, oh man, I really want to try it. But what I did back then was that I forced the videos to be something that they weren't. And I tried to force the videos to be me, and I tried to include like death metal into the videos. The thing is, even though I love it, I love death metal, I love melodic death metal, but it does not fit in the video. And I think that when you know what fits or not, that is also when you're going to be better at editing, because then you're going to do the same with the footage that you shoot.
100%.
This doesn't fit, this fit, and then you start to find your way. And music is supposed to enhance what you see, not be what you see.
And this is a great time to talk about our sponsor. No, I'm just kidding. No sponsors.
Squarespace.
Yeah. Actually, because I know that when you did the poker B-roll, and it was just you and I can't remember his name. It just went, wow.
Oscar,
that's it. When you did that, you just had this idea. Hello, Oscar. I know you can't hear me, but I know when you did that, you just had this idea and you set up this small space, and then you did another one. You did those B-rolls, and then you went to Rivals. And so there's a question I got about directing and any advice or courses that I would recommend for people. My question for you is, because my background is I've always worked with large teams, being on set. So I've done directing, I've done cinematography, I've done all these things over my career. But what's your advice for directing like talent, or the way you think about when you're on? Because you're there's a new term that I heard called a shredder, where you're the shooter, the editor, the director, and the producer. Like you do all of that. So you have to be thinking about, how is this going to edit?
Jury, and executioner.
Yeah, exactly. I heard it recently, and it made me think, because like I said, my background is coming from being on set and having my role that people look to me and like, no, you have to make sure that the lighting is right, or you have to make sure that the framing is right if I'm camera, or when I'm directing, it's like my focus is on the actors, but I need to be able to communicate with all the other departments to let them know what we're trying to achieve. Like how do you approach being on the sets that you've been on and directing? Like what advice would you give people that want to know how to get the most out of?
I think that the talent is never going to be better than you are directing them, because you cannot expect the talent to arrive at a set. For example, if I'm going to take the poker B-roll, we spent well over 6 hours shooting that, and that is like a 45-second clip. And the thing with me and Oscar, for example, we have known each other for so long, but what we did then was that I directed him in every single move, and then we talked about it. And I think that is the most important thing, because if something does not feel good for the talent, then you have to find a way for the talent to portray your vision in a way that they feel comfortable with. And that has kind of been the same for everything. I mean, like when we did the Office B-roll, Jonas, who was the main character of that, he had never acted in front of the camera. So I had to tell him my vision in detail and show what I wanted him to do. So I took like the paper, I showed, do like this, throw it up, do like that, and do this. Because when you do that, the talent also starts to feel more comfortable in front of the camera, because you are showing that you are comfortable in the situation that they are supposed to portray, So I think that when you are having someone that you're shooting, you should put yourself in their shoes and try to explain to them what you are seeing. Because seeing a camera and trying to perform in front of the camera, that's hard. And it's even harder when you don't know the vision that the person that is shooting you wants to have.
Yeah, and that's literally the type of advice that I kind of give to people that are just getting started in it, where try to watch all the behind the scenes of the directors that you want to emulate, that you like their approach and how they do it. And it's really about communicating to every aspect, to the actors, to the camera, to do that and to communicate exactly what you're trying to achieve. But it's more than that. It's also having that sense of anticipating where people may need a little bit more guidance or advice.
Yeah.
And if they're not clear on it, because a lot of people will be like, oh, okay. And you just sense that they don't understand what you're trying to communicate. And it really does come down, because every aspect, like when you write, it's about communicating. When you're talking about your idea, it's about communicating. So learn how to communicate in the language that to the people that you're talking to, because then they'll understand you so much clearer than trying to talk in your own verbiage. And then they're like,
oh yeah.
So yeah, just understand who you're talking to and talk to them in their language that they'll understand. That's really the advice that I would give.
And I mean, like, as someone who has shot multiple like short sequences with non-actors, because I think that not even Oscar, the Office B-roll, or the Campari B-roll, or the Woodworker B-roll, none of them has been like in front of the camera before.
Yeah.
But performing doesn't have to be something that you have to have years of practice of. It's just something that you have to show off as the operator, director, and shredditor, or whatever you call it.
Yeah. So I'm just looking at the other questions.
Oh yeah. If you guys that are here have any questions, drop them below and we'll try to.
Yeah, and put a cue beside it. That way I can find them a lot easier. But yeah, here Tommy had a great comment for you, saying that he saw you with your poker B-roll and started respecting you when he saw some of your vlogs. You put in the work. Your work ethic is a superpower. Absolutely.
Thank you, Tommy. I appreciate that. I wouldn't say that my work ethic is a superpower, though. I actually think that I have become somewhat of a workaholic ever since I started the YouTube channel. I honestly have a very hard time not working. When I'm trying my best, I still think of work. So I would say that it's cursed. But ever since I started doing the bodybuilding thing, and YouTube and all that, when I decide to do something, I give it everything I got. Like there's no returning, there's no half-assed, there's nothing. I just go all in. And if all in doesn't work, I try to extend it even more.
And you bring up a great point, because this is something that I struggle with as well. I always have this feeling that if I'm not doing something work related, or pushing doing something creative, or following up on something, I don't feel like I'm productive. Like taking a moment to just relax, it feels weird. And it's like, I need to break that habit where it's like, I can work nonstop. And I'm so grateful that my wife and kids come and they tear me away from the computer, because I'll keep going until they're like, let's go play. So I'm grateful for having that. Like, it's a hard feeling to break.
It's very hard, and I think that is now more than ever. It's very important to not get caught up in that, because I remember then when I first started my own company, I didn't have a daytime job, because I started up and then I tried to get it off the ground for 6 months, because I had a couple of money saved off. But what I did then was I stayed up late every single night, and then towards the end of 6 months I started to realize that there's nothing interesting going on ever after 10 p.m. And if it is, then it's on the other side of the world, so it doesn't really matter to you,
Yeah.
So if you see something that is happening after 10 p.m., from 1 week from now, try to have a look every single day. There's going to be nothing. No Instagram post, no YouTube video is going to be that important that you have to stay up after that. But still, I have a hard time not staying up after that and trying to look at the analytics, what I can do better and do this. And it's so hard. And when I was working the most, I would say that 2019 probably is the year that I would love to forget if I had an option. But I was going up at 6 a.m. and out shooting the sunrise, and then to the studio that I had back then, or the office space, and trying to come up with different ideas, shoot videos, maybe do some client work. And then when I was done, the clock was around 1 a.m. in the morning, and then I went back home. I had some food, and then I slept from 2:30 a.m. to 6 a.m. and then it all started over again. And that was my days. I worked.
Oh yeah. Well,
but it's not something that I recommend anyone to do.
But here's the thing: if you were to read any of those entrepreneur books, if they all say it's take the 2 to 5 years to build something that can then, because you're not going at the same pace that you were, but you're still putting in the same kind of effort, but you've put those boundaries onto the work that you're kind of curating. For me, I have my full-time client work that I do, and then it's then I'll shoot and try to edit from 10 o'clock until 1 or 2 in the morning, because that's my side hustle kind of time for YouTube. And I was very strategic in the kind of YouTube channel that I wanted to create, where I don't have to go out too much, because otherwise I'd just be going out at night, and I didn't want to start doing that. So it's just what can I do that I enjoy, that I can't shut up about, that I just want to talk about anyways with my friends, and just talk with everyone who will listen, essentially.
Yeah, but for me right now, I have I'm just gonna say that I'm working way less than I was before, but I'm still working a whole lot, unfortunately. But that is because I have the goal. And if someone has been on my channel, they probably know that the goal is to buy a house, and I will not rest until that house is in my hands. And I really hope that that is going to be at the end of next year. We're going to have a house, and I'm going to make a video on the channel that is going to be moving into our new house.
Yeah,
I hope so.
And then you'll proceed to have hundreds of videos talking about how you're building out your studio again.
Yeah.
For the third
because
time.
I'm going to create a studio in the house.
That's right. That is the goal. That is, that's the ultimate, to have a space where you just walk in, flip the lights, but you don't have to drive 30 minutes. And
yeah,
that's the beauty of
it would be
being
so good.
Yeah.
Would be so good. Because the thing is, we're renting our current apartment now, so we're not owning anything of it, and that makes it even harder because we don't have anything. Like, we can't sell the apartment, we can't get the down payment for the house, so we got to have a lot of money on the bank.
It's interesting place, and because you work for yourself, the banks look at you a little bit differently than if you had a steady income from. So I know what you're going through, and having that down payment and walking in and being like, I want that, then that's a great feeling. Yeah, go for it. Oh, before I forget, Color Finale actually was kind enough. So this is for everyone that's watching right now. If you guys want a free copy of Color Finale, make sure you follow or subscribe to their YouTube channel and DM me on Instagram. Hold on, let's see. Do I have that? I do. Yeah, DM me on Instagram at Capricorn8 to let me know that you're interested in the Color Finale giveaway. So there's going to be two copies of the full Color Finale for you guys to use, because I think it's a great plugin to work if you're using Final Cut Pro. So make sure you do that. Subscribe to Color Finale. Oh, the other thing is, where is it? So I know that I'm reaching the 2-year mark on my channel, and I told myself when I began the YouTube journey that I would give this 2 years, 1 video a week consistently, and I have kept up with that.
Sweet.
And so I'm getting to the point where I'm reaching that 2-year mark, and I have to make the decision: am I going to keep going with it? Will I try to make it a little bit a bigger part, like try to do more videos, try to make this more of a bigger part of the income streams, kind of double down, maybe take some brand deals, because I've avoided most brand deals. I actually wanted to chat with you about that.
Yeah.
So finally launched the Fix It in Camera kind of merch. Have the buy my coffee, all those things, to see if it is actually viable, if people want to support me making that bigger leap transition down the road. So need to figure that out. Want to see if it's worth it, because it's a huge leap from walking away from some client work to doing this. Because I know when you did it, you just took that leap, you just went for it. But I applaud you for that, because that's some bravery right there.
Yeah, but of course you have a lot of people supporting you. I have no doubt that you're going to be able to make it.
Well, like I said, the community that has grown from this channel has been quite amazing, and connecting with you, with Tom, with everybody that I've had the pleasure of just talking creatively with has been such a rejuvenation to the creative process, because especially in 2020, when almost all production got canned, so I wasn't able to be on set, this was such a great outlet to be able to communicate and to help people achieve their creative goals a little bit better in a way that I wasn't able to normally.
Yeah.
Oh, so go ahead.
No. I didn't have anything to follow up on that.
So I wanted to ask you about brand deals, because now that I'm getting to a point where there's quite a few people reaching out, not the free stuff, because I get a lot of that, and a majority of that stuff I kind of pass on, because it's like I wouldn't use it, I wouldn't want to make a video on it, and I'm not going to talk about it to the people that watch my channel, because everything on my channel really stems from, don't buy any new stuff unless you absolutely need to. Here are some
I
cool
agree.
tested tools that I know will work to achieve these kind of things. And here are some proven processes that will help you get better results faster, or in a way that is less, or in a way that's frictionless. Because that's ultimately what I'm always trying to do. It's like, how do I achieve this thing faster, better, and make people stand out with it? It's not about like, oh, I'm going to get this camera, it's going to make all my stuff better. It's like, yes, it's a great camera. It'll make the image look great if you know how to use it. So learn the fundamentals, because that's what's actually going to make you better. And then upgrade your cameras, because then you can utilize that camera to make it that better. If like, I've had this discussion so many times, like does the gear matter? Well, of course it does, but only if you know how to use it. If you don't know how to use it, it doesn't matter. Like I always say that learn lighting first. Go ahead.
Do you want to dive into that question? Like, does gear matter?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, like I said, I tell people, learn lighting first, because it'll make any camera a great camera. So what are your thoughts on does gear matter, now that you've gone through all the way to where you are right now?
Okay. I don't know.
You are never late to the party. Never late to the party.
No. See, yes. Okay. Gear matters. It does. I'm not going to lie. Gear is going to be crucial if you want to have a specific image that is looking this or that or this or that. But here's the thing. You cannot get a better image with a super expensive camera if you do not know how to use it. And me and Oscar has been talking about this for a pretty long time. Like, it's, if you don't know how to use the cell phone camera and how to do the auto, for example, I'm going to take my iPhone 12. If you cannot use manual focus in that camera and adjust the exposure in the camera app as of right now, then go and learn how to do that, and then we can talk. Because the iPhone is part of my vlogs. It's a part of my channel. It's part of videos that I make, that I post to my channel. But people don't really see the difference between the ZV-1, the A7S III, or the iPhone 12 when I cut them together. So I would say absolutely, if you want to have this image, you got to buy a camera that is going to cost you here in Sweden at least $5,500, with an additional lens that is like $3,000, and then the microphone that is another $500, and then you're also going to pay for the lighting, which is going to be another, I don't know, maybe like $10,000. So absolutely, gear matters, but it's not going to be crucial, because if you don't know how to use the cheaper gear, you can go up to the most expensive camera ever, such as the Arri Alexa, but it's not going to make your videos better, because story, lighting, all that stuff, it's so much more important.
Gear does matter when it comes to understanding what you need to use it for. Like,
Yes.
Does gear matter when you need to get a drone shot? Well,
No.
Of course. If you need to get a drone shot,
No.
you need a drone. That's part of the gear. That's what I'm saying.
You don't need the Air 2S. You can get the DJI Mini 2.
Absolutely. So then gear doesn't matter. You're right. Like the type of gear. Like, if you need to get that kind of shot, then get a drone. Does it have to be the most expensive drone? No. Do you need to hire a helicopter with a camera attached to it? But it's going to get you a better image. And it's one of the things that I say, the only place that gear does 100% matter is audio. Because audio is 90% of what makes a great video. Like, I'm still trying to figure out, do I use this mic? Do I use this mic? I'm kind of testing out different mics because I don't understand them well enough. Like, I take a lot of my advice from people that understand microphones and have tested them out. Tom is definitely one of those guys that I keep asking. It's like, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? Because I don't understand it. When it comes to cameras, when people ask me, absolutely.
This one, I will say that if you're having an A7S III, do not look any further than this microphone right here. I shoot all my talking heads with this, And it's a super expensive microphone, but it's also the best one that you can get. And you don't have to have any cables or think about charging it because it powers everything from
Yeah,
the
right. Yeah,
camera.
exactly. And that's the tested tools that I was talking about, where it just works and it works well and it's frictionless. You don't need
Yeah.
crazy rigs to, you just slap it on. Like a question I get quite often is like, what camera should I get to learn camera basics? And I just say, do you have a cell phone? Use that, because you can learn all the basics. You can learn the exposure, you can learn framing, you can learn movement, you can learn all that stuff in that. And then once you know that, if you have a budget, go ahead and buy something else. But once you know that, the buttons are just in a different place, but the exact same fundamentals transfer. So if you can learn on a cell phone, learn all those skills. If someone hands you an Arri Alexa, once you know the fundamentals, you'll know that you need to expose it this way, change this, and how to move the camera and how to frame, and you'll be able to translate those skills. But if someone hands you a cell phone and an Arri Alexa, and you don't know what you're doing, both are going to look crappy. Like, it's, unless you have a little bit of guidance.
See, this is something I think is very important, because so, like, going back to the whole vlog and B-roll and that kind of stuff, you know, when I recorded the B-rolls the most intensely, I talk a lot about the behind the scenes. I show the ISO, the exposure, the aperture, all of that stuff. But the thing is, even if I were to record like 3 of those videos a week, the fundamentals, as you said, is still the same. You know, I can say that I'm going to use the 85mm to achieve this shot. And if I record another video saying the exact same thing, it's still going to be applicable from the older video. And that is also why I feel like if I keep making those videos, I'm just going to repeat myself, because if you watch those videos carefully, you get all the answers that you might need in the future to be able to achieve those results. There's nothing new or innovative in that. It's just about exposing correctly and trying to frame everything correctly.
Yeah. And if you do learn some new process that you just find like, oh, that, like, I wish I knew that earlier, that's the video you'll make to complement the original one that you made on your channel, because all those are evergreen videos. Like, they are relevant today as they were the first time you made them. And because you made them from your perspective, no one else can make it that way like you. So I 100% agreed. Does gear matter? Well, yeah, maybe.
I'm still gonna say that for it depends. You know, when you're starting out, no, absolutely not. Does gear matter when you are making a living from this? Yes, 100%.
Absolutely, absolutely. Like, if your skills have improved and you're still using an iPhone, it's just like something's not clicking right. Yeah. So that's when gear really does start to matter. And you know, a lot of people.
What do the people think in the comments? It's been very quiet here.
Yes.
Let's see what they think. Does gear matter, or do you think that me and Raphael are wrong?
Yeah, Tommy thinks. Tommy says lights last longer than cameras. Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Louis says gear matters when you know how to use it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of a funny thing, because I made a video. I posted it today. It was part of the daily vlog that I'm doing, which was YouTube lighting setup on a budget, where I used lights that is around $500 or 500 euros, depending on where you live. Thing is, there's like a couple of comments saying like that is not on budget, but think about it like this. What do you consider a budget camera? Because a lot of people spend $400 to $500 on a GoPro, but when it comes to lighting, people are not willing to spend more than like maybe $100.
And so just as Tommy said, lights last longer than cameras. Yes. So it's so true. And lights do last longer. And like same with lenses. Tommy says gear matters once you own your own ability. Wait, what's happening here? Gear matters Let's get that back up. I'm not reading properly right now. Gear matters once your own ability requires something your current gear can't achieve. 100%. And as your skills develop, your needs for gear develops. Like once you start color grading, that's when log and raw starts to become very important. When you understand how to color grade, when you start moving into those kind of aspects. And like I said, my channel is really dedicated to getting people to the results faster. Like the gear doesn't really matter to me, because I've used Alexas, I've used Canons, I've used Reds, I've shot on film, I've done the gamut of all that stuff. And at the end of the day, everyone's watching it either on their cell phone, on their screen, and even feature films are watched on devices that they probably shouldn't be watched on. But unless you know that your audience is going to watch it on their gigantic HDR 4K TV, then know your audience and know what you're making it for.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's as some people are saying in the comments, like gear matter, and you have to know how to use the gear, and that is what it comes down to. I mean, like when you are in the beginning career of starting up your own YouTube channel, you probably don't know how to use anything else than your smartphone, and that is where you should start by setting your standard, because once you learn how to utilize the smartphone, then you might be ready to move into a point and shoot. And when you get into a point and shoot, then you realize that, oh, I want to have interchangeable lenses. They go into that, and then the development is kind of like moving higher and higher up the scale, until you realize that you reach a point where you have a diminishing return. Like, should I invest into FX6 when I'm very satisfied with the look that I'm getting out of the A7S III? Probably not. Should I get an RA Alexa when I'm recording YouTube videos? Probably not. You know?
Yeah. Well, have you heard? Oh, this actually leads in nicely into the iPhone question, because just kind of reading about the most recent iPhone leaks and what it will have, like the computational photography really excites me, because there will be a point where even those small sensors will be able to reproduce the bokeh. And that's the thing that almost everybody that is starting out wants. They just want that soft depth of field, everything blurred in the background. And once cell phones and computational photography is able to do it in real time, and if they release that in the video aspect on these guys, like most of these cameras are it's going to be a hard sell to spend $7,000 on a device or on a camera that is just big and bulky, and you're not going to take it with you. So like, I know that you use that was actually a question that came up. Is it better to use a point and shoot for vlogs or the iPhone? Because the iPhone is waterproof, so you can take it it's always with you, and you can just kind of use it in the moment.
I think that they both have a place. That is what you kind of got to realize with them, because I tend to see it like this. Doesn't really matter what I'm shooting. I always have first priority my A7S III. Second priority is the ZV-1, which is my point and shoot. And third priority is my iPhone, because I tend to use them in a like image degrading scale, if you may. So this is the best, this is the next best, and this is the worst, or the third best. And depending on what you want to achieve with the camera that you're using, you have to kind of realize, okay, is it going to be possible to bring my A7S III to the water park with Alexander? No, probably not. Like, am I going to be able to use the point and shoot? Probably not. Can I use my iPhone? Well, yeah, I probably can, because as you said, it's waterproof. And then moving forward, like, is it possible to bring my A7S III into a store without people noticing? Yeah, probably not. And the CV-1, yeah, probably is. So when I'm here in the studio, why should I use the ZV-1 or the iPhone when I'm having the 7S III, for example? And
Yeah.
whenever I can, I'm using this. But I would say that both a point and shoot and the iPhone is a very good like setup for anyone that wants to have some of the best cameras around. I honestly did a couple of vlogs during the summer that was only with the ZV-1 and the iPhone. So I think it's a great combo, and I can't see that one is out competing the other because you have the bigger sensor in the ZV-1, and then
Mm-hmm.
you have the iPhone, which has a smaller sensor. But yeah, what is your thoughts on that?
I remember. I'm going to use. Oh, hold on. I'm going to use. I'm going to use my top down for this. So I remember. So I had my iPhone, or not. I had my phone. So pretend this is a cell phone. I had a Happy Snaps camera. I had my wallet. And then what else did I have? Oh, I had an iPod. And I remember. Let's see. Can I change this? Oh, I'm going to keep you up, but I'm just going to switch out this.
Yeah, no worries.
Where is it? There it is. Here we go. So I remember I had my cell phone, I had my iPod, I had my wallet, and I had a Happy Snaps camera. And I remember standing in line at a coffee shop with this in hand, and the iPhone commercial came up. And I'm standing there thinking, like, that is going to replace everything that's in my hand. It's going to be my music player, it's going to be my phone, it's going to be my wallet, and it's going to be the Happy Snaps camera. So I let go of my Happy Snaps camera. I went immediately and bought an iPhone right then and there. Kind of stuck with iPhones since the beginning, because there are so many times that I've had a thought, oh, I want to share this idea with some people. And I've used iPhone footage in my videos, and not once has someone said, that's crappy iPhone footage. Why aren't you using better cameras? Like, it was just a thought. I was able to record it in the moment. And because I didn't have a Happy Snaps camera, I was on set. I was doing something very specific, but I just wanted to record that. And there wouldn't have been a way like, oh, hold that thought. Let me go get my camera and set up. And no, you pull it out, you push the one button, and it's instantly recording. And that's where the frictionless experience really comes in. Now, do I want the cameras to be better on them? Absolutely. Do I want it to be something that I will go onto a client shoot to do a full-on project? No, it'll never happen. But someone will do it, and someone will get paid handsomely to make a commercial, a music video, and they've already had to do it on iPhone. So is it the tool, or is it the person using the tool that that becomes the tool? I'm using that way too much. Anyways, but yeah, like I would say, definitely the camera, that the whole adage of the camera that's with you is the best one in the moment, because if you have it and you can capture it, that's better than not being able to capture it.
Absolutely.
Does that make sense?
And it's like, when it comes to YouTube overall, I think it's the fascination of making videos, for me at least, is to capture what happens around us. You know, when I go into a hardware store, it's like I want to capture that and see if I can turn that into something interesting to watch. It's not like I'm walking in there thinking that I'm going to show everything that I do in here. I cut like a 10-minute segment down to like 15 seconds, but I want to capture it the best way that I can in the situation that I'm in.
Yeah, I remember that in one of your most recent vlogs, you're like, to be time efficient, set up a time lapse while you're going into the store and just hope no one smashes your window. And you're right, like when you have multiple cameras, you can be creative in that way, where it's like, I'm going to do this, walk away, let that do its thing. And then you still filmed in the store with your iPhone. Like, that's the beauty of having multiple gear. Like, you wouldn't walk around with two iPhones or whatnot, but you didn't have to choose, like, should I do a time lapse or go into the store and film? So I think.
Yeah, and when it comes to when talking about editing, and those of you that are interested in vlogging, those of you that are watching this, or making YouTube videos overall, I think like when you think you are shooting enough, shoot even more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That and switch up the camera angles.
In my like when I was in school and we were shooting film, there was a shooting ratio of 3-1. So for every 1 minute that that's going to be in your film, you need to shoot 3 minutes of footage. That's to like, so 3 takes essentially for everything that you do. And then I remember once digital cameras came out, and I was spending like $10,000-$15,000 a year processing film, like buying the film, getting it developed, processing it, just to make short films, like to make 30 minutes worth of content in a year. It was like 15,000 bucks. And then when digital camera, like the digital cameras came out, even before the Canon 5D Mark II, the videos like they were able to capture in SD was so like, oh, so freeing. And now we have 4K, 8K quality on these amazing cameras, and people are, they're doing everything with them. But is it necessary?
I'm actually gonna drop a video tomorrow talking about my experience on the A7S III a year later. And I can, for those of you that are here in the live stream, I can say that this camera is probably going to be one of the best cameras that you can buy for the coming 2.5 years. No doubt.
I believe it. It's actually on my wish list to get that camera. The issue is I don't need it. I don't need it for anything. I have plenty of cameras, and
you do need it.
Oh, no, don't do that to me. Right now. Don't do that to me. You're right. You're right. I do need it. Starts shopping.
No, but I think it's one of those cameras that is making everything so incredibly easy for you. When it comes to saving your footage because you're overexposed or underexposed, there's so much dynamic range in that, and you need to shoot something in 4K 120, or you need to have the best like lossless compression, or you need to shoot something in RAW. Like, it doesn't really matter. It has everything that you could ever ask for in camera nowadays. And I'm trying to think about this, but I can't really see what would be something that I would need in another camera that would top this off right now, or in 1 year or 2 years from now.
Yeah, and because the legs on it, and this is my whole philosophy when it comes to buying any kind of gear, make sure that when you buy it, it will last you 5 years or more without getting excited about buying something else. Because if you don't buy, this is where the gear matters part. When you're committed to buying something, when you finally commit to buying something, make sure it is the thing that you want, that you will use for the next 3 to 5 years or longer, because that's what makes it worth it. That's when gear matters. That's when buying the right gear matters for you. Because if you're going to learn and grow into it, because the A7S III especially has lots of room to grow into and still hold up the quality for years to come. You're absolutely right.
Oh yeah. And I think that if anyone doubts that, I dare you to think what you possibly would need more than this camera has to offer.
30 minutes longer recording time?
No, it's like infinite.
The A7 III S?
The A7S III.
A7S III. Oh, okay.
So
yeah,
like
I was making a joke. I have no idea.
The A7 III, still good camera, but it's starting to get a couple of years on the neck. But the A7S III it's gonna be one hell of a camera for a couple of years to come.
I believe it. Like, I know that Tom is raving about it as well. He loves that camera.
Yeah, I can see. We got a comment. Higher megapixels. Thing is, you don't need higher megapixels than 12. There's when you have a video-centric camera, there's absolutely no need for higher megapixels.
That's the thing, right there. That comment right there, your comment where you said if you're video-centric, because Jasim is a wedding photographer, a buddy of mine, and he's debating between the R5, the R6, and the A7S3. Like he lives in Nikon, and he actually made a joke earlier that when it comes to that kind of stuff, like I used to do photography. I haven't been paid to do any photography in years. So I wouldn't consider myself a photographer. But if I was doing stuff where it was crucial to be able to crop in and to get the best framing for clients, 12 megapixels, because I had the A7S II, and I used it for video, but when I tried to use it for photos, especially in low light, because all the events that we were doing when I was working for the hologram company were in low light, big event auditoriums where we needed that low light for the video, and it was fantastic. Anytime I tried to take a photo, it wasn't usable because I couldn't be as close as I wanted to. So I had to crop in, and it was a no-go. I had to have a second camera just for the photo side of it so I could get press quality photos, because otherwise they were too blurry or not blurry, but too much noise, and then I had to denoise, but then it just softens everything and it just looked like a bad iPhone photo. So that's the one aspect. If you're photocentric, test it out, buy it, go shoot in the environment that you will be shooting in, and know for sure. Don't watch one or two videos and people raving about it. Like, just make sure it's right for you.
Yeah, that is very important. And I think like it's let's see here. Christian said A7S3 is good for video, but photography you better wait for the A7 IV. I would say both yes and no. Like photography, A7S3 is incredibly good since it has so very good low light capabilities, but it doesn't allow you to crop your photos that much. I think that the A7 IV and the A7S3 is going to be two totally different cameras. So it's not going to be either the A7S3 or wait for the A7 IV. I think that if you really want to have the best video capabilities, then the A7S III is going to be the camera that you want to go for. But if you want to trade off some of those video capabilities, that is when the A7 IV is going to jump in. I think if Sony were to include the same specs as the A7S III has right now, then there would be absolutely no need for either the FX3 or the A7S III. So it's not like Sony is very good at differentiating their cameras. So you have the R for photos, you have the 7 III or 7 IV, the jack of all trades, and then you have the S for sensitivity. And I think that they're going to keep it like that. It's going to be like, you're going to be able to get the A7 IV, but you're going to have to trade some things off from both the photography side and the video side to be able to get a camera that is kind of what you want if you're doing those kind of things.
And like another reason I haven't bought or picked up a Sony, because of the experience that I had with the A7S II. Majority of the cameras that I had and the lenses is all Canon based, and I believe in buying into a brand instead of into like mixing and mashing. And I know that Tom uses both, and he has them calibrated to look nicely. And when you're in a setup like that, I think they work fantastic. I've just been on set too many times where I've had Canon, Sony, or a mix of two different cameras, and not being able to dial in the exact same settings for each camera identically becomes a real pain point. Well, it was definitely for me and the crew that we were working with, where it's just like every time it's like, no, if we're going to go with Sony, then they're all Sony, or like, because that way you know that if you can have the exact same camera with the exact same sensor, because it just makes the whole process so much faster. Because even 5 minutes at a time that you lose can become a big stretch. So the question here is, the Canon R still worth it in late 2021? I would say absolutely, for the price point and the quality that you get out of it. If you don't need 4K full frame, I think it's a fantastic camera.
Yeah, Tom is here. Hey.
Yeah, Tom, I agree, and we're just talking about how awesome the A7S III is, and how much you love that camera, and how
And
much
how
you
much
gush.
Raphael needs it.
Yeah, apparently I need it.
But yeah, there's been some people talking about the new A7 IV. I have no info, just so you know. But I think what they're going to do is that they're going to have 4K 60, as some people have written. But I think I'm not saying, but I think that they are not going to include these ones, which are
The fast,
yeah.
the
I don't
express
think it's
cards,
gonna.
right?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to include that. So you're not going to be able to have the CF Express Type A. I think. I'm not entirely sure. And you're not going to be able to shoot in all intra, I think. So
Well, I think
you're going to have to do the trade-off. I think this is, again, just speculations. I think you're going to have to do the trade-off that if you want to shoot compressed or the most uncompressed files, then you're going to have to go with the A7S III. But if you want to have like a good all-round camera, then the A7 IV is going to be where it's at.
Yep. And one of the main reasons I do want to get the Sony is because it has full frame 4K, and the video centric side of it is great. Like, I love that they have a smaller sensor that allows more light to get in. That's why they can have such low light capabilities. That is the thing that frustrates me the most with the C200 and the R, is that the R doesn't have full frame 4K and the C200 doesn't have full frame 4K, which drives me nuts because I can't use my wide angle lenses. The lenses feel a little bit different because they crop into the great cameras, the great footage, and when I know how to use them to get the quality that I like, but it does frustrate me that I want a full frame. I want to utilize the full frame lenses that I have because that's how I take photos. And when I look at it, so when I put it on the other cameras and it doesn't show me that, I'm like, that's it. I'm going to Sony because I need it, right?
Yes, conversion.
Yeah.
There was Uplick Vids wrote that the CF Express cards. Yeah, exactly. I think that is going to be like a crucial point for the A7S III and the FX3. And then Jashim wrote, "Does anybody know why it's difficult to get 4K 120 in mirrorless?" I don't know, but I think the heat dissipation is one of the problems, and also the sensor readout. This is something that Sony has been working for a very long time, I know. And to be able to get a mirrorless camera and have a good sensor readout without too much of a rolling shutter, that is like engineering at its finest.
Yep.
And
in a box that's about this big.
Yeah, exactly. And if you haven't seen my video when I opened up the A7S III, then you can actually see the incredibly big heat sink that is in this camera. There's like this much thermal paste, and I think that the engineering team on Sony has been working super hard to be able to push that into this small of a package. I mean, like, it's come on.
And you had the FX3, right? You played with that for a little bit, and you sent it back because you didn't feel it was right for you.
No, I think like the FX3 is a good camera. It's a great camera, in fact, but it's just the A7S III in a different body. There's absolutely no difference at all except for the fan and the cage.
Yeah.
So I think like using the camera that is the best for you is going to be the best. But nowadays, I would say that the reason that Sony will not put 4K 120 into an A7 IV is because they would kill this camera straight off if they did.
Well, because this is a 12 megabyte sensor, it's a lot easier for them to get that frame rate and keep the heat down because they don't have to do so many lines, and then they don't have to do pixel binning or any kind of.
They do have the A1 though, that is a beast of a camera that is doing 4K 120. But with that said, you're not getting as crisp of an image as you are with a full sensor readout for a video.
Oops. Oh.
And there we have Raphael gone.
No, I'm not
Battery
gone.
died in the camera.
I think 1 second. I'm going to make Peter full screen. Here we go.
Well, welcome to my channel. Hope everyone is well. And here in Sweden, we currently have 17 degrees outside. It's a little bit cloudy. And I am rocking everything from a small studio space with a bunch of nail lights.
Give me 1 second.
Oh, by the way, I'm gonna go to the hardware store tomorrow. There's gonna be a vlog tomorrow, or no, not tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm probably going to talk about the A7S III, kind of what we talked about here. But tomorrow is going to be about on Saturday. That is, it's going to be about the what is it like the finishing up in the other part of the studio, because I'm trying to optimize that space now that I have time, now that I'm back, now that I feel rejuvenated again.
Your studio and Tom's studio are by far the most interesting, well-lit studios that I enjoy watching. So well done, guys, with your lighting first approach and making everything. And you're the guitarist, he's the drummer. It's perfect.
Oh, yeah. We're actually going to record a new podcast tomorrow as well, Tom, right? Yeah, we are.
And if you guys haven't been listening to the Peter and Tom podcast, make sure you go subscribe to that and go listen to all the back catalog of great episodes, because they have some fantastic conversations. Much appreciated conversations.
Thank you.
So
well, it's starting to get late here.
Yeah, I was going to say, Peter, thank you so much for being part of this. My journey is what I'm going to say, because every time you've mentioned my channel, even in passing in your Instagram stories, there's always been a nice big spike of new subscribers that they came, and they all say that you sent them, which is fantastic. I just want to remind everyone that if you guys want one of 2 copies of the Color Finale plugin, make sure you go and subscribe to their channel, Color Finale, and also DM me on my Instagram at Capricorn8. Let me know that you're interested in it, and there may be some runner-up prizes as well. So I will do a live stream on my second channel, which is a link in the description, where I do deep dives on the creative process and also freelance financials. So make sure you go subscribe to that channel. That's where I do most of my live streams. I'm only going to do live streams on this channel as my when there's big events and very special people that come and join me here to have some nice, great discussions for you guys. So Peter, I just want to say thank you again. You are amazing. I can't wait for your next videos, and I can't wait to see where you take the channel in the next 3 to 5 years. Looking forward to it.
It's going to be so exciting. Thank you for having me.
With that, Peter, thank you. I'll talk to you guys soon. You guys are amazing. Make sure you subscribe. Go subscribe to Peter's vlog channel. He has some great stories to tell you over there. And I'll talk to you guys soon. All right. Bye for now.
Bye.